Shalom, beloved. How are you? I'm doing well myself, and well, usually I share something from the Torah, and at this time, and I'd like to share with you a couple things, perhaps a few things. One of them, though, was actually something that a very good friend of mine asked me this question. Actually, she's more than a friend. I call her my sister. And she might be watching this, so hello, dear. Yes, my dear little sister. She asked me, how can I fix my mistakes? I thought that was a really profound question to ask, and something to be answered in case anyone else has the same question. We can't fix our mistakes, but we all make mistakes. That's what happens in life, and really that's how we learn. We can't fix our mistakes, we can learn from our mistakes, and we can ask Abba to help us not make the mistakes again. And when we are, tempted to make the same mistakes again, that's when we have to cry out to Abba all the more greater. And even if need be, I would say to ask others to help and pray. The reason why God has created family is for that extra strength. Not just family like your own bloodline, but spiritual family. And sometimes it's really hard to share things that we struggle with, even with the people that we trust, simply because we're afraid of being put down or being, considered not smart or foolish or whatnot. And that's sad, because I think we all in some way or another deal with that. But having spiritual family, someone who that they can lovingly hear you out and respond in a loving way. It might be hard to hear whatever they have to say, but if they can also consider your own knowledge, information on the matter, take that into consideration and apply it to what the word says, that's definitely the friend to have, the people to have in your life, people who can do that for you. I have found, I'd say, a couple friends in my life that have been people like that for me, that I've been very blessed to have. But even then, I know there's times where it's hard to share, the deep stuff we struggle with. And the truth is, especially my dear sister, if you're listening now, the truth is, dear, that what is easy mistake for one person, for someone or something they're tempted by, what could be easy for them to fall into, maybe not easy for me or for you. So in other words, like, one temptation to one person could be totally different from one temptation from another person, which is one reason too, again, why spiritual family is so important. Because we all struggle with things, when we're born, we like to say that that there's such innocence in children, which is true, to an extent, but the fact that we are born sinners, we're all born with a sinful nature, that's true too. When you're little and you're growing up, all you think about is not always, but a lot of kids, it's like the self-centered. And even into adulthood, we actually have this, but it comes out in different ways, I feel. Which is actually one of my prayers. One of my great prayers is for me not to be selfish, or to have you know, because we can definitely pursue something thinking we're not doing it selfishly or with selfish intent, and there could be that selfish intent, you know. So it's definitely one of my prayers. So to encourage you, even though we cannot fix our mistakes, please be comforted in knowing that you're not the only one, that we all make mistakes, and that Abba, he's there for you to help you. You know, that's what he's there for, like the strength. And he definitely can use people in your life to be extra support too. Yeah. So now, after I've shared that, I also want to share with you something amazing that has happened. As you know, I have Arabian horses, and this has to do with something in my own life, just for me, that I've learned spiritual point of view. So please hear me out. For those of you who aren't horse fanatics, I have been wanting to put my horse Kuma, my other horse. He's basically become my dad's horse. He's older, and I wasn't really anxious to get him out to the pasture, or wasn't sure if I was ready for that yet. So I started with Kuma. Now they're both out there in the pasture, but I started with Kuma, and I just want to share the whole experience because I was really afraid to put him in the pasture because there are other horses in the pasture, bigger horses, and horses, just like people, horses don't always get along with each other. And the thing that's not like people is that horses, when they don't get along, they kick, they bite, they got big teeth, they got big feet, hooves, strong hooves. Their like bodies are nothing but muscle, you know. So it's a big deal putting a horse in the pasture with other strange horses. And I dealt for the longest time. It's true that my horse needed to get some weight up too, so that was another thing. But aside from that, because in the pasture there's not much to eat, aside from that, I did not want to see my horse, you know, my son, get hurt. And I watched this awesome movie called Riding Tornado, but it's more than that. But I would have to say that this movie, if you gotta see, it's a good one. It really opened my eyes. I've seen it several times now, and each time I learned something more. It really opened my eyes to see more of what it means to trust God, to trust Hashem. Like, and I've talked about this many times before, trusting Him in every part of our life. And this part of my life, with my horse, was one part that I had not come to fully trust Abba with. And I got to this point where this one day, I wake up, and I'm like, you know, I want to see my boy just free, just running. I just want to see him happy and just, you know, free. So I get him ready to take him out to the pasture that day. And here, you know, I got the halter on him, and I'm getting ready to take the halter off to let him run to go. And he's ready, you know, he's sensing the excitement already of just, you know, I had never done this with him before, but he was just ready, and that was cool too. And I said a little prayer over him, you know, that for God's protection, and I knew that I just had to trust God. So I took the halter off, he took off running, so beautiful to see that Arabian tail flagging behind. He goes a little ways, and then suddenly it's like he didn't even know what to do with himself. He realized he had all that room to run, and he had run a bit, but he came to this point where he just stopped and just kind of looked around like, whoa, is this for real? You know, it was so cool to see that, really. It was so neat. And then he sniffed around the ground. I've actually never seen a horse smell so many things at one time. It was really cute to see that too. He's smelling all the smells, the ground, and other horses, you know, had come by, so he's smelling all the wonderful gifts the horses leave. And I'm just watching all this, I'm taking it all in, and And the next thing I know is other horses, big horses, much bigger than him, are coming, to say hello to him. And horses have quite a fascinating way of communicating with each other. And I kind of held my breath in a way, a little bit, not so much, but somewhat when I saw them, because I was like, how's this going to go? And then I was telling myself, I was like, I can't worry, I'm not going to worry. So, interesting, though. One horse, the first horse that came up to Kuma, was a girl horse, female horse, and a mare. And she, they smell each other. They did the nose thing that horses do. And then she pinned her ears back, and it was like, oh, this is not good. She's getting ready to kick at him. But he knew that he was supposed to stand back. So he took very good care of himself, like a gentleman, got back, got away, and then they minded their own business. This other horse, I believe it was a gelding, male horse, comes up to him, even bigger horse. And I thought, oh no, this is not good. He's probably going to fight for the lady horse. And they nose each other, and no ears back, no kicking, nothing. They just kind of, it was like they got acquainted, and then they went their own separate ways. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. So I share all this to say that I saw myself in my horse, like a reflection, because here I was afraid to put my boy out there that he would get hurt. And I do believe in my own life that it's true. Like I was really upset when my family moved into town out of the country, because I just craved that solitude, that alone time with God, which, one has to make alone time with God no matter where you're at, but I just missed that. And it's just kind of it was hard to really get used to coming out, being out with in the open more often, having grown up in the country. And so even after being in town for a while and being among, with more people and talking to more people, it was a struggle to just be myself in a new environment like that. Not wanting, I think, really, in many ways, not wanting to be hurt. Because there's a beauty about, having land and just, in your own little world. But there's also this light we are supposed to be. So, in the world. And it's really a blessing. I didn't see it at first, but it's really a blessing. The position that Abba has put me through, and the journey that I've been on, in a lot of areas, in different areas, a lot of areas, one area in my life. But so I saw myself in Kuma because, first of all, trusting Abba with my life in the world, and also trusting Abba that no matter what giants spiritually, whether it's circumstances, that even if one of those horses had kicked at Kuma, I had to trust that God was going to take care of him, that he was going to be okay no matter what. And in the same way, I have to trust God that no matter what comes in life, no matter what happens, no matter what blows, no matter what, that he has my soul, and that he will not forsake me. Hashem will not forsake me no matter what, and he will sustain me. He will be there. So here's a cool thing. So after I put my horse in the pasture, even after just one night out in the pasture with these other horses, the next day, which would have been today, I went out there thinking, oh, he's enjoying his freedom so much, he's probably never going to come back to me. And I went out to the field and I started to sing the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. I need my head covering. I started to sing that just loud. And you know what? I didn't see Kuma yet. I didn't know where he was, and he responded with his hoarse voice, his hoarse call. It was the most amazing thing. And then I just was trying to follow his voice as he was trying to respond to my voice. And in this great big pasture, there he was. After a while of walking about, it's like there he was, and he did not run away. He was pleased to see me, and it was just an amazing moment because I saw that he was much more relaxed than he has ever been before, and it's like, it was just amazing. That trust, it's like a circle. I had to trust God with Kuma. Kuma had to trust me, and that was what was so beautiful. So, the same way as I saw myself in Kuma, I definitely had felt more relaxed with this. Even just, this may seem very simple, but it was huge. One step, one experience, one lesson in trust that I have gotten to learn. Yeah. So, thank you for listening. Shalom, shalom, Shavuot Tov. May we all trust our King more and more each day. Amen. Amen. In every area of our lives.